So now we're going to talk about communicating or understanding the need for your kid to be a sexual being, basically.
Right.
That they're going to have desires.
Right.
One of the things that it's important for a parent to understand is that the Bible talks about nocturnal emission. So the Bible does talk about, that moment where semen comes out of a dude,
right.
out of a kid, a guy, a teenager, and that's important. And it also is pretty blunt with sexual situations.
Right.
And you got to remember that the Bible speaks of these things, so we have to be able to learn to speak about these things too. And your kid has needs,
right?
And what we're trying to do is help them understand that if we wait on the Lord, that God has something great for them, with those sexual needs. But if you're scared to go this direction, what usually a parent will do is they might go, oh my gosh, my kid's having sexual thoughts, or I saw pornography on their internet or on their phone, or I saw them doing this thing, and the last thing they want to do is talk about their kid, understanding that their kid has a need for sexuality in their life.
Right. That God did design us in a really cool way to, when we get of age, to begin to experience the need for sexuality. So it's like when God designed us to get hungry, to have that feeling of hunger when your body needs to eat. It's the same way that when you get to the age where you can start thinking about procreation and marriage and things like that, dating and sexual relationships, your body develops appetites and your sexuality as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing sinful about that, right? The Bible is very clear that our appetites are not inherently sinful. They're good. It's what we do with our appetites that's what's sinful or not. So when your child grows up, it's difficult for a lot of parents to accept that they are growing up and that their appetites are coming in and that they are changing, and so they would rather just ignore them and pretend like their kid isn't experiencing what they are. But living in naivety is not going to help you raise your kid.
Yeah, and most religious families want to not share kind of their past, right? That's how a lot of parents act, is they go, man, I don't want to share what I did, because then what if my kids go do what they're going to do? But let me just challenge you, parent, on that kind of thinking. Is your kid is probably going to go do what they're going to go do anyway. Don't you think it might be valuable that you are able to sit down with your child or your student and be able to talk to them about your life and how you expressed your sexuality, how you felt those desires? Because those desires is normal. Even the Bible says, delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desire. So it's not like desire's bad. And I'm sure you as a parent have had desires too. And you failed at some of those desires.
That's right.
So some of, like parents, we can obviously look at even to our desire for food.
Right.
And C.S. Lewis always said that, in his book Mere Christianity, he said, hey, we wouldn't salivate over lamb chops, would we? But the answer is yes, we would, C.S. Lewis, and we do. Meaning a lot of us understand the desire for food, that appetite,
right,
and we go too far.
Right.
And so we can empathize with our students, our youth, and say, man, we understand that you have a sexual drive as well.
Right.
And a parent should understand that some people have higher sex drives than others.
Right. Where I'm sure that when you were raising your kid and they're young, it didn't weird you out or bother you that their appetite for food was wrong. Meaning, I don't know any parent that looked at their kid and said, hey, whatever you want to do with your food is okay. If you want to eat ice cream for dinner, that's okay. And none of the parents that I've talked to were shocked if their kid said, I just want to eat ice cream for dinner. They weren't like, what? You don't want like a main course? You don't want to be healthy? They're not blown away by that. And yet, when your child develops a sexual appetite, you're shocked by it. And you're like, what? Like that? You have a sexual appetite? You have maybe a sexual appetite that's more extreme than it should be. You have a sexual appetite that, it would be great if our sexual appetite only appeared like the second we got married. Like that'd be really cool, I think. But that's not how God designed us. He designed us to develop a sexual appetite at a particular age, and for that sexual appetite to grow. And what that does for us as human beings, just like your physical appetite towards food, is that you need to develop something called self-control. That you need to learn how to have an appetite for something that is going to be harmful and bad. It's not like as an adult, I don't want to eat ice cream for dinner. Like it's not like I don't have that appetite or that drive. Of course I do. But I just recognize as an adult that I need to exercise self-control over that appetite and not indulge it.